Hello, I've had to go live with fucking camera playing up because it was a whole timing thing. And while this camera has some strong points, this little webcam with its built-in ring light has some strong points. Fuck me, it gets fucking annoying just for no apparent reason. So if I put it on autofocus, it will focus on me. Hi, Stella. How's it going? I'm just randomly complaining about my camera, which for no apparent fucking reason. Ooh, wow. That is supposedly auto exposure, and it's so fucking wrong. Like, it's appallingly bad exposure. Jesus. Oh, fuck me. What is this fucking camera doing to me tonight? Making my life an absolute fucking misery. Ooh, that's very moody, isn't it? That's probably a little bit dark. That's probably a little bit light. Jesus, fuck, what is wrong with this fucking camera? Hello, Luke and Justin. Yes, I'm fighting with my camera. And this is like absolutely fucking surreal to me. It just won't focus. If I put it on manual focus, it just won't focus. And really slowly changing. It's like the manual focus is broken. And I just switched it on. I didn't do anything and it just wasn't fucking working. Hello, Kirsten and Bex. Hello, hello, hello. Painting your nails because you're not working, Stella. Very nice. Justin, have I seen the ads from the Lincoln Project? No, but I've heard of it, and I think the people behind it are a pack of fuckwits. Just by the by. Fucking Republicans. Who fucking needs them? Ooh, wait, what the fuck was that? Look at that. We're in focus. But the fucking exposure doesn't. Okay, we're sticking with that for exposure, I think. Oh, wait a sec. Maybe I can change this. Brightness? What does that do? No, that's ooh. Contrast? Oh, really sharp. Ooh, that's pretty dramatic, isn't it? That's far too much contrast. We could do more. Oh my God, that's like 90s rock video looking stuff. Okay. I'm just going to fuck everything up here. I can see it. I can absolutely see it. Ugh. Whatever. I'm just going to leave it like that. Fuck it. Fuck it. Justin, no. They're fucking Republicans who've decided Trump's going to lose the thing, and they want to do some sort of fucking power grab in the next Democrat presidency. And no, they're grifters and they're fucking shitbags. And I don't give any space to people like that. Stella, is the lens clean? That was genuinely what I was thinking at one point, Stella, that the fucking lens was just thing. How's lockdown, Luke? Well, it's not enormously different for me. I did go to the supermarket today, wore a mask. Only about 1 in 10 or less people were wearing masks. Nothing weird happened. There was not a lot of people there. No one was panic buying. There was no empty shelves. And yeah, I got some stuff and I came home. And that was it. So that was the sum total of my day. I'm looking a bit sepia toned, aren't I? Jesus. Every now and then when this camera fucks up, I get really annoyed. Well, I wonder what happens if I turn the ring light up a bit. That's down. That's up. Maybe I do need to reduce the focus. Brett, you reckon Geelong's going to get locked down? I don't know how many cases they have. I haven't been paying that close attention. Do you think Adelaide's safe? They'd put that in quotation marks. Anyone in any other population centre who doesn't think they're going to have a resurgence of the case because there are undetected cases in the community, anyone who doesn't think they have undetected cases in their community is absolutely fooling themselves. Just had 4 new cases, 3 from the same household. It's often the case is with the number of new cases, the actual when we're dealing with these comparatively small numbers, like I said, because US is getting 50,000 new cases a day, 60,000 new cases a day, without comparatively small numbers. The important part is the ones where it's not clear how the people got it. Those are the troubling ones. When it's not clear where the transmission comes from, those are the troubling ones. I mean, there could be okay, as bad as it is, like in those housing commission towers in Melbourne, they end up with hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of cases. It's like, well, at least we know how everyone got it because the close quarters there, it was just transmitted to everybody there. But when there's cases somewhere else, and it's like, oh, we don't even know how this got there. That's worrying. So, Brett's saying the 6 cases in Geelong. Well, you may well be right about them copping a little bit of lockdown if they get more cases. Well, that's really interesting. It's not letting me do advanced settings. It's fucking webcams being a shit. Stream a companion app. No, I don't want that. A dashboard? What's that? No. Razor synapse. Okay, what is this stupid bloody webcam doing to me? Oh, honestly, it's like every now and then it just really decides to fuck with me. No, stupid webcam. Hey, Donna, how's it going? Just fighting with my webcam. Justin, well, there are 2 reasons I could visit AIDSy, and that would be to give care or for work. AIDSy is determined to use the for work reason to get together and do some video stuff, but we'll see what happens. I actually think he should be completely isolating, but I don't know how much he's going to adhere that. Ooh, has to be getting a webcam. Sorry, a MacBook. Yes, nice. Oh, Donna, you're passing through on the way to a doctor's appointment. Well, I hope all goes well with the doctor's appointment. I hope you have a good day. I hope all is well with you. Yes, Brett, my webcam is in lockdown. It's just a fucking shit. No, not that. Not that. Not that at all. Okay, no, it's not going to let me make any adjustments unless I fucking shut down the fucking stream, which I'm not going to do. I'll just cope with this slightly weird image. Speaking of the man, I had best send him a link. We'll see what he's like on the home front, and I'm sure he will have tales to tell. Just let him know. I've emailed the link. Okay. You know, it makes my normal drink look very gothy. Drink's not really that gothy. I'm not really that gothy. But it's just the way we are tonight. Yes, Kirsten, I believe he was booted out of hospital this morning. That's what I think he will have tales about. Annette, hello, good evening. Brett, you think I've got the gothy contrast is just right for the hellscape that we find ourselves in at the moment? Well, that's a fair point. What's that? Camera doesn't let me do anything general. No. Okay. Okay. It doesn't really let me do anything. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. This is us. This is us tonight. I also had a weird thing with the light fitting in the kitchen. This house is one of those houses where there are multiple switches for the same light fitting, and that can be confusing. But I'd never had a problem with this light fitting that I used to bloody light myself up for these live streams, and it wouldn't fucking work. And then fiddling around with different switches, it did work. It's so very strange. So technology is not being kind to me tonight, actually. It's so I look silly and orangey and high contrast, and lights were messing with me. And here's AZ.
Hello, peeps. How you going? Do you think that I should be shot because I'm black?
I don't know. I just you don't have any of your teeths in tonight.
No, I have none of my teeth in, and I came up to my home to find a distressing sign: nigger and COVID sufferers, don't let the sun go down on you in Northcote. And I was going, oh, that's disappointing. Because while you're the COVID sufferer, I heard the cough. Don't you believe I didn't hear the cough, buddy? I was very hot, and I was almost not allowed permission to go into the chemist.
Oh, you had a fever, did you?
I did, which was awkward because I really needed to go into the chemist.
Yeah.
And
oh my God. Do you have to be shoving food in your gob on camera? That was one of the first things I got taught when I was doing work experience at a TV station when I was at high school, thinking like when you're shooting stuff for a story, people eating is super gross. Anyway.
Are you saying my body repulses you?
I'm saying all people eating look gross.
Well, in fact, it's illegal to shoot the Queen of England or the close royal family eating. Except that Harry's waived that law. He doesn't give a fuck. If he's eating a burger, hook in, he doesn't care. He's been caught wearing a Nazi uniform, and they blew that up out of all proportion because the party was, come as your worst monster.
Yeah. Also, you've done that defense before. Fucking member of the royal household wearing Nazi regalia. There is no excuse ever. It's dumb fuckery. It's privilege fuckhead behavior.
He was 15. 15-year-olds fuck up.
He was much older than 15 when that happened. Also because his family are a bunch of fucking Nazis as well. They were
true.
They were very pro-Hitler in the lead up to World War II.
They were, yes.
So
most of the aristocracy was.
Well, yeah, most of the British aristocracy was
pro-Nazi. They could see a way of life slipping away from them.
Yeah.
And the Prussian sentiment was about bring back nobility, bring back rank, bring back structure.
Yes.
And structure is very important if you've got a fireboy sleeping on a fold-out cot next to one of the last fires he's set for the night. Yeah. He's got to get up at 4:45 in the morning, and he gets to go to bed at 11:45.
Yeah.
And believe me, he's not breaking. He gets to stop for lunch, but he's not allowed to eat with everyone because he's got black all over him. Because remember, he's cleaning chimneys as well. He's got black all over him, and he said he didn't mind the work. It was just very lonely because you'd walk into a room and people would ignore you. You were nothing. You were just part of a zero. You were the original grey man. And he said it was really hard. He was talking to these people on the TV set, weeks before and cracking jokes and having fun and making friendships. And then when the actual show went ahead, he just disappeared as the lowliest of the low.
Yeah. And by the way, I just looked it up. Harry was 20 when he was busted wearing the Nazi uniform at a friend's party. He categorically had no excuse for it.
Okay.
So, I mean, I personally don't have any trouble. Like, tabloids try to make a big thing when he had that naked party in Vegas when he was on leave from the military. No, that was completely legit.
You get shot at for 2 weeks in Afghanistan, and then you get to fucking blow off some steam in Vegas and see what you get up to, and then know that you're going back there to get shot up for another 3 months.
Yeah.
Right? I know what I'd get up to. And you know what I'd like to have done? I would have liked to have got all of those fucking journalists, yanked them out of their fucking lives, make them do basic training, and then put them on the front lines of Afghanistan, because basically that's what they did to him. He had no choice about going into the military. That was what he was going to do.
Yeah.
If he wanted to be a ballet dancer, they went, nope.
Yeah. Justin raises a valid point with the dressing up as a Nazi thing. Didn't I dress up as Hitler? Yes. And I was in high school when I did that, and we thought it was funny. We all dressed up in Nazi regalia, and I was actually Hitler. I offer no defense whatsoever for that. I was a fuckwit with no real appreciation of history and what Hitler did, and it was just I'm being funny and provocative and dance. This is actually why I don't dump too hard on teenagers who do dumb fucking stuff.
Because teenagers do dumb shit.
Yeah, but I certainly don't offer any defense for it. There's like no context or whatever. I was a fucking idiot kid in a country town with a very poor understanding of history. Certainly had never met or spoken to a Jewish person to contextualize for me Hitler wasn't funny. And I was a dickhead. There's no defense for being a dickhead, but it was just like, well, hopefully I grew out of it. And again, hopefully Harry grew out of it. But again, the idea that anyone in the royal family can do anything without public scrutiny is just
he went up
big no.
During the Afghan tour, and one of his platoon or company was mouthing off about how he'd scored with this guardsman that he'd been after for ages. And 3 of the lads had started to organise a blanket bash and were abusing him for it. And Harry said, "Oh, fuck this for a bunch of monkeys," and turned over and apparently had this bloke by the fucking scruff and said, "The anti-gay thing in the military has stopped. It's been over for years. Let it go. If you came in here screaming about how you'd fucked a woman from artillery, everybody would be fucking clapping you on the back." So it's the same fucking thing. Don't you dare imagine there's anything else. We're not going to have any anti-gay shit in here, okay? And then he's gone, okay, and it was, okay. And every now and again he pulls rank. Like, he is officially what's the next one up from captain?
Major, I think.
No, but there's I think it was Lieutenant Major. So he was Lieutenant Major, but every now and again he pulls rank as in, I am the royal family. I own this army. You will do what I fucking tell you to do. Or I'll call into Grandma and dob you in. And you will be serving out the rest of your time on Anthrax Island. And they have one in Scotland. It's a dumping ground of chemical, biological, and nuclear waste, and they send people there who they don't like. And it's if you spend more than about 6 months there, you are warned not to have children. You are warned to take special care of your eyesight. You are warned to have a cancer checkup once every 6 months. It is very bad.
Yeah.
Very,
so,
very bad.
talking about ranks, was Harry RAF or Army or Navy?
Army.
He was Army.
Marines.
So it goes straight from captain to major in the Army.
Yeah, he was Royal Marines.
That's right, Royal Marines. But like Dirty Andy
William was RAF.
Andy was either RAF or Navy.
He's Navy.
He's Navy. And Chuckles was Navy too, wasn't he?
Chuckles was Navy Air Arm.
So
fly Buccaneers off.
I just was about Harry, like Annette saying he married a black girl, so I think he grew out of the Nazi thing. I don't think he was a Nazi. I think he did it as a prank. It was just inexcusable. But also that defense of I've married a person of color, so I can't be racist. That's like saying misogynist wife beaters can't be misogynist wife beaters because they're married to a woman. So there are a lot of people who marry mixed race who are actually super racist.
Is that not going to work for me? Marrying.
It's not going to work for you because boss of the house would slap you if you tried anything.
Fucking oath.
That's where it's not going to work for you.
Boss of the house would wait until I was well and truly asleep, and then I'd feel wetness on myself, and then I'd feel the flame as the fuel caught fire.
Yeah.
We've both often chatted to one another and said, "You will wake up on fire." A certain father of mine is going to get that fucking call this Christmas. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to get it.
Oh, hey! I just realised what you're eating. Shall we cause a furor? What do you call the thing you? What do you call the thing you were just eating?
I have been beaten into submission, and I call it a potato cake, but its true name is a scallop.
We're from New South Wales, or he's from the ACT. We say potato scallop, and here in Melbourne, we'll get slapped around if we say that. People say it's a potato cake, not potato scallop. It's a potato cake. But we grew up with it being a potato scallop. Annette, I've kind of heard that too. Meghan Markle sounds as fiery as boss of the house, definitely. Annette's on board with potato scallop. Nice. Luke calls potato cake. This is civil war right here. Yeah. Stella's heavily on the potato cake side. It's a thing. It's a thing. I just remembered something. I was going to. Tomorrow is Pina Colada Day, which is an excellent way to finish the week, I must say. And then Saturday's Mojito Day, although Saturday is also my date night, so I won't be on. But I am going to. I've got to get some mint leaves. If I'd planned a bit better, Mrs. Angry had some mint leaves from her garden a week ago. But they've all sort of gone brown now. So I have to try and remember to find some mint leaves at the supermarket. I don't even know how hard that's going to be, because you need mint leaves for a mojito. I don't know. Ooh, Annette's making a Blue Lagoon. Annette and I stocked up on Voc cocktail mixes from Dan Murphy's because they were on special this week. And Um,
Don't worry, there's
yeah,
no falling over.
yeah. I thought heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. I have injured myself,
Ouchies.
and it's not trivial.
Ooh. What? Just
In
now?
about 15 minutes, I'm going to take off my pants and survey my hip and leg for a cut.
Oh, god damn.
And then if it's a bad cut, I'm going to have to go back to hospital. And I'm going to go, see, self-harm. Did you tell them that story? So I'm in hospital, right?
Yeah. What was the grand eviction like today?
A clusterfuck like we knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Except that this time I'd got myself uber ready.
Yeah.
Uber ready. I'd packed all night the night before. I had no sleep. And then I had everything ready to go. I'd also got my sympathetic nurses to give me all of the drugs that were able to be given to me.
Yeah.
And they did. And then when the morning staff came on, they said, "Oh, you've had that early. You've had that early. You've had that early." And I'm going, there's a reason for that, because I'm leaving in 15 minutes and you weren't going to give it to me. So then anyway, I'm ready to rock. I'm going to say now, we've just called, because they called pharmacy 3 days running to tell him he's got to be out the door at 9. He's leaving at 8. Anyway, so they call pharmacy, and pharmacy's going, yes, we can set that up. We can set that up. Pharmacy then rocks up at 10:30, which is when my appointment was.
Yeah.
And I say to pharmacy, so do you want to call the Royal Melbourne Dental Hospital and tell them why I'm late? And they're going, oh, we kind of call the Royal Melbourne Dental Hospital and tell them why I'm late, because it's on you. And then they came back and they said, oh, they're only taking emergency calls. And this would comprise one of them. Call the Royal Melbourne Dental Hospital and tell them what's going on. It'll sound so much more authoritative coming from a hospital than it will from a guy who just didn't show up for his appointment. There is one, count 'em, one repairing prosthetist on for the next 3 months. He has got work coming out his ass.
Yeah.
Right? And to fit me in for a simple snap repair job is like fitting a credit card into the building blocks of Machu Picchu. It's not going to happen. But he was the nicest guy, and he just went, yeah, come on, man, we'll do that. Just a piece of piss. We'll make it happen. And then I was supposed to go back at 3 o'clock to get them fitted. And I was just so wiped out that it couldn't happen. Anywho, I was pissed at the hospital.
Yeah.
They've let me go too early.
Mm.
I can't grasp things. I went down for a simple jaunt down to the mall today to do some admin stuff and to get a new cable for my iPad because the bloody connector snapped off in the socket.
Oh, shit.
And one of the nurses says, do you want me to have a go with my tiny little fingers? And I went, I want you to have a go at a lot of things with your tiny little fingers, but yes. And so she got it. I was thinking pliers, I was thinking the whole bit, but no, she got it out. And I'm going, that's why you've got a very special job and I don't. Anywho, I get out of there. I race straight up to the dental hospital with Jason in tow. Jason, of course, is so thrilled to be waiting around doing fuck all.
Oh, yeah, I
bet.
His
favourite game.
Yes.
Sorry, I should have said boss of the house. Boss of the house's favourite game is to do fuck all, waiting.
Yeah.
Boss of the house has a special mojo about him that means when he goes to a tram, train, or bus stop, the train, tram, or bus arrives within 3 to 5 minutes. Right? It's never not worked. It has never not worked. And he says, "Oh no, I just plan the journeys carefully." And I'm going, "Bullshit, mate. You know, they never arrive on time. You just have the gift." I'm going to test him on another test this weekend, and to see if it works, and we'll see if he's got the gift. Anyway, he was getting more and more steamed, and of course he was mule donkey too, because I thought I'll carry these 2-3 bags and he'll carry those 3 or 4 bags. And it became increasingly obvious that I was able to carry a backpack, and that was it. And we'd stuffed the backpack with all we could, but I still had, two bags to carry.
Yeah.
And so now this poor little bloody pack mule's running around the place going, "I'm overburdened," and now we stop and wait. And now we move, and now I'm overburdened, and now we stop and wait. And there's these friggin' security guards going, "You will not go there. You must go there." And Jason boss of the house did the broad sin of going, "Why?" And he said, "Because that is the way the system is designed." And I then stepped in because I thought, yeah, boss of the house is going to punch shit out of this security guard. It's going to get ugly fast. And I went, "Look, I'm vaping a lot, and the smoke you can see is pretty full on. So I don't want to bother anyone. So we'll stay here until that's done." Because you weren't allowed to check in before your time. You had to check in 10 minutes before your time and wait 5 minutes to go in. And then, because I didn't want everyone coagulating in the waiting room and sharing backbite disease. And basically, we get up there.
You get up
Nobody
there.
knows I'm coming. Nobody knows who I am. And then they say, "Oh, you're the one that missed the appointment."
Oh, okay.
And I go, "No, I didn't. You have also got a phone call from the hospital saying why I missed the appointment." And they said, "No, we didn't." And I rang the hospital and said, "May I speak with as I'm in waiting for the dentist, may I speak with pharmacy, please?" And they said, "Oh, pharmacy's busy." And I said, "Oh, they're going to want to hear this. They're going to want to hear this loud and clear." And so I got to the pharmacy and I said, "Head of pharmacy, thanks. He's in a meeting right now. Get him out of the meeting. He's going to want to hear this." And so I've told him my story. And I said, "Now I'm in a quandary. What do I do? Do I say that St. Vinny's failed to call their sister hospital? Or do I say that bloody pharmacy neglected to call the hospital? Or do I say that in their cowardice they didn't want to take any blame for their lateness, and they were an hour and a half late from an operation which they were told about 3.5 days before?" "Oh, but we did 16 checks and balances, as does my fucking home pharmacist, and he gets it out in 10 minutes. So I don't want to hear shit. I want to hear you bringing up the hospital and explaining this away. And I want you to put me on speakerphone." And so he's the head of the department. He knows how to make his iPhone work, and he leaves me online, and he's not a happy camper. And he rings up the head of the hospital, because he's got that number on the speed dial. And she say, yes, I have a customer here. You're no longer a patient, you're a customer.
Your customer.
Unbelievable. And they even now in the portrait in the promo material start to call our customers need this kind of. I'm going, it's not a product. Don't manage it, inputs and outputs. Anyway, so I've got this passenger here who's complaining about being given salmonella. Anyway, so the obviously head doctor of the Royal Dental turns around and goes, well, we could simply erase it from the records and it wouldn't have to have happened. And at this point, Vinny's doctor says, the customer's on the line. And the whole tone of the conversation changed, because they were getting into the dirty little tricks, and all of a sudden that was out the door. And he said, "So I would like to apologise to you formally for this customer's lateness and take full responsibility and any late fees or." Discharge difficulties, you let me know and I'll sort them out. And the hospital guy goes, that's dental guy goes, yeah, that's fine. And that's just it's just the feel of what this is. I've been watching a lot of anime. I've been climbing around the world. I'm tired as buggery. And I'm home, and Jason bought some really cool chairs, and he did a big cleanup. The place is a mess, but he did a big cleanup, and so much stuff of mine has been thrown away. So much more of my stuff has got to be thrown away. And we're slowly getting room for people and places for things. And we're going to have a rule: no clutter on the surfaces, except for the desk. So there won't be any clutter on the kitchen sink. There won't be any clutter on the beds. There won't be any clutter on the fridge. It'll have all been fucking cleaned. And we're trying to work out at the end or the beginning of each night, and I'm thinking it should be end because I stay up later and I can do it. And get the washing up done to dry overnight. Should be cool. It will be tricky though. Because I know that little girls like me get treated very badly in places like that.
You are drifting there a bit, buddy. I want to jump in and say hi to Bobo and John who came into the chat. And Stella did bring up a good point that you said you were going to check about bleeding and such like. Is the time you had suggested has elapsed? Should you maybe be checking yourself to see if there is actually any damage?
Good point.
Good point.
Well
okay.
Taken.
So AZ is going to excuse himself momentarily.
No,
dude, you get me bloody thrown off YouTube and you're in big trouble.
No one's going to see my junk. No one's going to see my nether regions. All you're going to see is that. It's my navel. Everyone's got one. And you can see my snail trail, my French snail trail.
Yep. Okay.
And you can see how much weight I've put on. And you can see that I've had a shave. And you can see that I've got no teeth and can still speak. Samuel Sadducees.
You're actually very good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to turn off this bathroom light so as to not bother Jason because it must be annoying the piss out of him. Okay.
Well, that's an interesting question from Catherine. She's wondering, does doctor talk ever scare you, Aidsy? If Catherine was at physio today and they're using big words she didn't understand and it scares the shit out of her when they do that sort of stuff.
I am very, very lucky. I and Angry are the last of the classicists. When we went to school, the teachers used to say, this is telescope, from the Greek meaning far and scope meaning to see. And we would always get an etymology of where words came from. The Old German, the High French, the English farmed cattle, the French lords and masters of them ate pork. So shit, piss and fuck were considered dirty words because they were the words of the English, the common folk.
Ah, yes.
Right? And if you were using those words, then you were painting yourself as the lower class. And that is going to require addressing. Let's see if it dries up before the end of the broadcast. Otherwise, I'm going to have to wash some pants. Oh, feels nice to have the belt off. Let me just do this live.
All right. He's just going to do. Oh, gosh. Going to do some. Oh, I just noticed the back of your chair. That is a sexy new chair you've got. Don't fall over showing off your chair. I accept you have a very sexy chair.
It's very office. It's very space office.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very Chinese agency has them. NASA would want them if they could afford them. Let me get this. Put it over.
All right. Aidsy's sorting out a few things. Hey, I was going to say, as I was mentioning earlier, Annette and I both got some Voc cocktail flavoring liqueurs from Dan Murphy's because they're on special. But I also lashed out a bit and got a special rum because I don't know. I feel like I should have a special rum. This is actually from Nicaragua. Flor de Cana, a very well-known and long-established rum distiller. This is their 7-year-old slow age. And I believe they proudly say they don't add sugar. Obviously, the base of rum is molasses, which is from sugarcane. But a lot of rum distillers add sugar during the aging process, and Flor de Cana proudly say they don't. They don't add sugar. It's this natural slow aged, and I'm going to do because the other dark, and this is a much darker rum, an Australian rum, Beanley's 5-year, which has gone well in a couple of drinks. The Flor de Cana is actually a much lighter. Put them sort of, you see. Flor de Cana is actually much lighter. It's a light amber, whereas the Beanley is actually quite dark brown. But I've never tasted it. You can break the seal. Yeah. You know, it does have that slightly funky, like this is made of vegetal material kind of. So with it is a really interesting aroma. I'm going to actually quickly compare with the Australian one. It's like this is much lighter and even smells a bit more sugary. This smells more like caramel. And this one is a bit more of that earthy. People often refer to some of the aged Jamaican. Well, this is Nicaraguan. The aged Caribbean and South American rums being a bit funky as in it smells. It smells slightly like you can really tell this has plant matter in it. Oh God, which one is which one? That's Florida Cana's lid. But so it's got a very it's interesting. It's definitely a nice smell. You know. Ooh, that really warms you going down. It's not bad though. Like, oh my God, the overproof rum. Last time I tried to take just a sip of the straight overproof rum, which has more than 50% more alcohol than this one. This is 40%, which is quite standard for a rum. My overproof rum is 69. Nice. And oh my God, that's brutal when you just drink it straight, at least for me. I'm sure there are hardened spirit drinkers out there that would think not much at all of knocking back overproof rum like that. I'm going to have to do a comparison at one point. Make the same cocktail out of the Flor de Cana and the Beanley and see if I can particularly tell the difference when they're mixed, because they're distinctly different taste-wise. But yeah, once it's mixed in a cocktail, I don't know. The rum, aged, okay, 43. My cocktail Bible has a lot of suggestions of what to do with an aged rum.
Well,
So,
suggestions how you could start off with an aged rum.
Why does everything you say sound like it's going to be some really quite depraved sexual aspect to it?
Well, it wasn't meant to be sexual at first.
Yeah, but it got there.
I was going to say we should get some overproof rum.
Yeah.
And then rather than mixing it, we should fire breathe it.
Yeah.
All rum will fire breathe. If it's a lighter metabolic rate than what you've got.
This is where we are. I'm just going to interrupt you with the little bit of honesty. You are clearly fading quite a bit.
I'm trying to put together the next sentence. What I'm trying to say is that the big guys will punch through this quite easily, whereas the little guys are flake. So you give it a bit of see, when you're rolling rum around your tongue, you spit the rum, and the idea is you get the taste of the alcohol in your mouth, so the burn doesn't burn so much. And then you put the next bigger and badder booze in. You learn to roll it around your tongue and let the alcohol fumes come up your nose and out before you try and swallow it. Because if you try and swallow it, you're going to get that cough in the back of your throat.
Yeah.
You know, in the movies you see these guys and they drink whiskey and they go after it. And you go, every time I try to drink whiskey, all I've got is like that. And the way they do it is they take a sip and then they roll it and warm it. Because remember that alcohol's going in cold. And you warm it and the aromatics basically start to give up one by one as the whiskey heats up. Same with rum. And it'll shoot spurts of alcohol out your nose. So that you don't have to take on the blue flame as it's going down your throat.
Yeah.
And I also happen to know that as you're rolling it around your tongue, the vapors are going, because you're breathing it out through your nose. The vapors are going into your nose, and you're going to get the effects of the alcohol, but at a much more brutal pace. And if you're an experienced drinker, you'll feel a hit, and you go, right, that's 2 drinks. Right, that's another 2 drinks. But if you're an inexperienced drinker and you're not doing any of that but knocking them back, all you're getting is a burn, a sore tongue, a burnt esophagus, a growly tummy, and some grog bogs in the morning that would upset concentration camp survivors. And you know, it's the flashbacks. Oh, the terrible things they had to do. And I tell you what, we were talking about Prince Harry doing stupid things. I once had a Jewish girlfriend, and I was in a circus, and we went to Sydney, and we were staying at her parents' place. Also Jewish, as it turns out. And their her grandma, had been a concentration camp survivor. And she tells her, never forget and get revenge. And I was just going, fuck it's been a while, Grandma. Maybe it's time. The Australians and the Japanese trade pretty hardcore. It was only recently that the Japanese became our number two trading partner. And it was just because they lost their podium to China, who is now starting to outsource literally a third of their product to poorer Asian countries. Not hard to find. With this new money, we will buy a helicopter and guns. How about food and medicine? Helicopter and guns. Anyway, so they I was over the Chinese because I was there for a reason. I was talking. Oh yes, right. I had gone to this circus in Sydney, and I had a phone number. And because of the look of the circus, I had to have my hair shaved.
Right.
And remember, I'm a big brutal boy. Who's a juggler, and I've just come off back-to-back shows, and we'd done 8 hours in the ring, traveling from point to point. And we were just fucked. And I had this number to remember that I had to call in the morning, so I wrote it on my arm. And because that's the pencil, that's the pen, the paper that's available. And I've been picked up at the train station by my girlfriend. I went past the station and she waved at me, and I got off at the next stop and got over and then came back, and she abused the shit out of me for that, and let her dog bite me. Long story. Anyway, I've walked to her place from the station, and she's gone, the fuck are you thinking? I go, what are you talking about? You got a shaved head and numbers written on your arms. We're a Jewish family. What shit are you trying to pull?
Oh no.
I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it until I met Grandma.
Oh no.
Who had to adjust her wig in the middle of dinner. She said, I'm so embarrassed. I have to adjust my wig. Up it comes, round it goes, back down it goes. And she says, I hope you don't mind. As you get older and older, the hair comes out, and because of the vitamin B deficiencies in the camps, everything always comes back to the camps. And you've got to be quiet as she tells you another horrific story of human degradation. And then she looks me over and says, so you, young boy, I hear you are stopping our child. I'm like, whole families like that.
Yeah. Oh, you got to take that.
No,
You
I
take
don't.
that.
I just got a message from my mum telling me when my dad's heart pacemaker's going in.
Oh, okay.
It's fucking day surgery. They put a pocket in your chest and they pop the machine in there after they fucking tuned it, and they
Yeah.
put 3 leads through your shoulders down onto the muscles of your heart, and
Yeah.
sew them in place laparoscopically. Then they come out and it's 2 or 3 stitch wound, and
Yeah.
and
Keyhole
those things
surgery.
stay good for 25 years.
Mm.
The way they recharge them annoys people because effectively what's got to happen is they've got to sit there quietly for 2 hours while the you know how you can recharge iPhones on the pad now?
Yeah.
That's how they do it with pacemakers now.
Oh, don't you? I was hoping you might get the opportunity to just like hit your old man with a taser or something. Just go, what's that? Battery ran down? Don't worry, I got you. Fa-tamp!
You know the worst thing about this
Yeah.
is if I hit my old man with a taser, the pacemaker would instantly recognize that there was a surge of electricity, switch itself to safe mode for a moment, call in to the server that operates it, call in information from the servers around it, get the best course of action, and get the beats going back after a microsecond.
Damn. They know their
That
shit.
didn't happen in my day.
Didn't happen in your day?
No.
Actually, a few things that happened in the chat when we were talking about the strength of rums. Kirsten was filling us in that rum tends to come off the still at 72%, and then they will actually take steps to dilute it as much as they want. Kirsten actually has some of the 72%. She says she has with breakfast, so that's good to know.
Sometimes after 72%, they'll re-boil it, so it'll come out as 90, 92 or 3.
Not with rum, they won't. It doesn't work that way.
Okay.
You do that. Neutral spirits can get up to 90 odd percent, most definitely. Most definitely. We've drunk it, the Polish rectified spirit. We, in the name of science, actually did shots. And the fun thing was it's such high alcohol content, if you hold it on your tongue, your mouth is warm enough to vaporize it, and you can actually feel it vaporizing in your mouth, which is an incredibly disconcerting thing.
It bubbles off your tongue.
Yeah, you feel that volatilizing and just filling your mouth with vapor. It is most disconcerting, actually.
And then you do something stupid like breathe it in and go,
oh, yeah.
I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done that.
Okay. Sorry. Kirsten doesn't drink 72% rum for breakfast. She drinks 72% whiskey for breakfast, which is an important clarification.
That is a distinct difference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, the very, very, very different preparation of the two. Actually, there was a question. John was very keen to know. He was very upset by your horror story of the deranged neighbor who got removed, if I remember correctly.
Fastest eviction in world history. 6 weeks go to woe. And the tipping point was when the real estate agents, the 2 of them, and the landlady and her father were there, and I was there, and a couple of other house people were there. And she said to the real estate agent, "You're fired, and I'm going to get some competent people in, and I don't want these chingers around here spreading their COVID around to all of us people."
Ooh.
And my landlady just went stone cold quiet, and I thought, this is what it looks like when a tiger is about to leap and claw and rip you to shreds.
Yeah.
And so they've managed to rustle her off, and we've held back the lady because she had a go at her too. The lady, she called her a word that I can't say here.
Oh gosh.
And she was not, since she lived in Broady, used to being called that word without a punch on happening.
Yeah.
And she was quite prepared for the punch on.
You can use that language, but there are consequences.
And so the male real estate agent slid in front of her, and I slid around in front of the tenant and the father of the landlady. It used to be his house, and he built it and gifted it to her to run, manage, and learn property. Poor bitch has learned a lot of property out of this house, I tell you that much.
Yeah.
Anyway, when she heard that, she turned around to the real estate and said, so she's already been technically evicted, hasn't she? And they went, yes, she has. We served her papers on Friday. And she went, do expedite matters. Do press them.
Move things along.
Real. Well, I got told by the manager to bloody bits and pieces that a normal eviction takes, because they dig their heels in and they don't want to go. First thing they do is they stop paying rent because they're getting evicted.
Yeah.
And it takes usually between 3, 4, 6 months to get them out of there. And in that time, they usually trash the house. They usually break crap all over the place. And next week, they're in a new rental property under another name. And no one knows, and no one can track them. And I heard a story of 3 real estate agents skiting to each other about how much they'd sold. And it was found out that she'd stung them all. She promised that she was their only true love. She'd stung them all, got the best price available, moved in, and then didn't pay any rent anyway. And she'd done this before. And one of her favourite tricks is to either burn down the place or break it. We were threatened many times with she was going to burn down the place.
What's happening to drop something?
Jason's insisted that I use sippy cups.
Okay.
Because of my mankiness. And they work like a bloody charm. I've got one of these ones that keeps truckies' beverages hot for long distances. And it is so good. It's got a real proper valve mechanism. It's got a real. It's simple but effective. You know, it's a proper click on, click off thing. If you punch your hand down on it, it'll stop it. And if you tip it over, no muss, no fuss. Very impressed. Anyway, so the landlady said, so we can expedite this, can't we? And 6 weeks later, gone. Half the time, she was actually in psych rehab, being looked after, because it all became too much for her. And it became too much for her because several members of the house, and I'm not saying who, kept on ringing up the CAT team and saying, she's done this, and they would get rung 4, maybe 8 times a day, every day, and the police would get rung 3, maybe 6 times every day. At one point, they said, "We can't come out to every little thing." And then they heard the broken window and said, "But we're coming to this one."
We're coming to this
And,
one.
and she'd thrown a piece of 4x2 through a landing window, imagining that it would be really hard to repair, which she hadn't figured on was that there was in fact the ground floor. It was the floor level window from the balcony, and
Yeah.
so the guy who replaced it just went zip zop, out it comes. Told the apprentice to go and put that with the crushed, and come back, and then these beautiful shining panels of fiberglass. And bloody yeah. I don't know, man. I have said for a long time there's crazy sweet and there's crazy evil.
Yes.
And I've met also crazy lost. The first guy that was in this place that was crazy and bad, and he had to go because he was hitting people. He wasn't evil. He was just lost. He was really lost. He needed his square meter of space behind him because he'd been so institutionalized his entire life that he didn't really know how to burst the box, burst the balloon and get out of there. And bloody, if you think it through, you just get a situation where some crazy people are just unforgivable.
Well, they hurt.
They hurt people, and they don't hurt themselves. They hurt people, and they enjoy it. And they know they're never going to get in trouble for it, so they do it again and again and again and again. Someone, I'm not going to mention him because he's a member of the group. His brother is profoundly autistic.
Yes, yeah.
And he is a fucking evil turd. What I wouldn't give to get one of those electric dog collars and a taser in an afternoon with that fucking prick. Because as soon as he fucking stepped out of line, it'd be no, zap. That hurts you, doesn't it? Every time you don't listen to Uncle Aidsy, it's going to hurt you more.
Yeah.
And then he's going to ignore me and zap. Eyes on Uncle Aidsy all the time.
Yeah.
Now we're going to sit on the wall pretending there's a chair there, but there's not going to be a chair there. We're just going to have our backs to the wall with no chair. And we're going to sit there for 2 minutes at a time for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I went swimming for 10 years. I know how to up torture to a degree where it's really body breaking.
Yeah.
Anyway, fucking.
I like on the sippy cup front, Charlie was mentioning she has legendary clumsiness, but has a commemorative Attack of the Clones Yoda sippy cup for bad days. So, that's pretty stylish.
That is pretty stylish. I like it.
Yeah, now, I'm on board.
What is all this fucking spit and bile about a baby Yoda? I keep on hearing about it.
There is Disney owns Star Wars now, have for a while. Disney own the new movies. Disney also have a subscription TV service called Disney Plus. All the Disney movies are on it. All the Pixar movies are on it. All the Marvel movies are on it because Disney owns Marvel. All the new Doctor Who movies are on it. And they developed an original for TV series based in the Star Wars universe called The Mandalorian, about which I have only heard good things. It's basically described as a spaghetti western in space, but in a good way. Yeah. And There's a man. Boba Fett is a Mandalorian. That armor he wore is Mandalorian armor.
Yeah.
There's another Mandalorian bounty hunter in this. It's not Boba Fett. He's the Mandalorian, and so this is following the adventures of this Mandalorian. And one of his jobs is to procure a package. I think it's just referred to as the child, and he gets it. It's Baby Yoda. It's not Yoda the character, but we've never been told what is the name of the species Yoda belongs to, and so everyone just calls it Baby Yoda. They have a few adventures together. Dude, you really look severely like you need to go to bed. A couple of people have mentioned it.
I'm really just enjoying the sound of what's going on. My eyes hurt from, I know it sounds stupid, from the constant changes of light all day.
That doesn't sound stupid at all.
I'm not actually super tired. I've got to have a bloot and a shower after this anyway. And I'm not super amazingly wildly tired. I would know I was in trouble if I was starting to slump to the left. And
you've done that a couple of times. You apparently are not aware of it, but you've been doing that.
I mean, totally crashed out to the left.
Well, yes, if you fall, that would be worse.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's me losing consciousness.
Yeah.
Slumping to the left is just something I do because I have a weaker left side than my right side because it's the still side with a stick, and that gets more exercise.
Yes.
So when I'm sitting or on a bed or anything, I tend to slump to my left.
Yeah.
And I've been going down to my left to try and organise this fucking cigarette because it's been misbehaving, and also to try and organise this sippy cup because it's been behaving. So the eyes closed thing is a bit of comfort. If I was eyes closing and still trying to tell a story that had odd bits of word and plot in it and not being able to come back to the main point, then I would start to go, I think the fans and Angry have it right.
Yeah.
And I've been meaning very moderate today with the psychotropics that I have. That I have managed to vouchsafe from the hospital. Not much, but if you mix them just right, you get to see stuff. So you will close your eyes and concentrate on the top of an engine and its manifold system, gently wobbling in and out according to a massive spring. And then you get who's called me now? So essentially, you can tell when I'm looking at those images. Basically, it's very comforting for my eyes to see those things. Now, it's not so great when you're on TV to shut your eyes, but I've had lots and lots of different light change. And when you're in a hospital, you don't get light change. It's the same all the time.
Yeah, that makes perfect
and so
sense.
my eyes have been going, and my glasses have been in a state of smudge, dirty, clean, smudge, dirty, clean, smudge, dirty, clean all day. I've been finding difficulty getting things out of my pockets. I've been finding difficulty getting things organised in a normal human way, and a lot slower than I would have hoped at this stage of my rehab. So I'm going to take things a lot more easily than I'd hoped I would. But life goes on.
C'est la vie, as they say. Oh, that's right. Brett's pointing out the lead in the Disney series, The Mandalorian, is Pedro Pascal, who Game of Thrones fans will recognise.
Ooh.
He was Prince Oberyn, who got his head ripped
Give me
in
just
half
a sec.
by.
I'll be back. Don't mute me or anything. I'll be back.
All right. So, John, where's Song of the South in Disney Plus? I think Disney have made pretty sure that Song of the South is not on Disney Plus. I like this. Some old Warner Brothers cartoons that have really gross racial stereotypes on them got released on disc as part of the collection, and they just like have a screen before the things start, and they go, yeah, we know some of the representation in this is fucked, and we think it's important to acknowledge the fact that this is the sort of shit we did as entertainment in the past, which, you know, is a position I can get behind. I mean, yeah, Song of the South is fucking terrible. You know, it's like not like you want to do the D.W. Griffith Birth of a Nation and say, oh, it's for historic accuracy. It's like, no, that's actually literally Klan propaganda. But sorry, John, were you asking what happened that you need rehab? Oh, just no. It's just generally AD's mobility problems caused him to fall a couple of times, which he fell so hard he got concussed, and it affected his physical dexterity. So he has problems at the moment with the dexterity in his hands and basically his feet. It's difficult for him to walk around without falling over at the moment. And he wants more rehab, and the hospital doesn't want to do it. Peter, speaking of kids shows, you rewatched the first episode of The Ferals. Forgotten how great it was. Is that a puppety one? I'm not familiar with it, but I feel like it's a puppety one. Charlie, oh yeah, I grew up with the Looney Tunes cartoons that were just way racist. Yeah, they're not great. They're not great. So it's actually not bad, actually presenting them and saying, we actually know this stuff is fucked. But we were putting together an historic document, and we thought it was important to be honest about it. So, all right, we've got Ferals fans coming out everywhere. Charlie, Kirsten, Catherine. Catherine wants to know where to find the Ferals. Yes, okay, it was. It's puppets, yes. 90s, Rattus the Rat. He was a rat with a leather jacket. Okay, I do kind of know it. I don't think I've watched it a lot, but I obviously know it enough to pick that it's it was a puppety show. So Rattus the Rat. That's actually the scientific genus of rats, isn't it? Rattus. If I can find that out. Yeah. The scientific name for the black rat is Rattus rattus, which is fucking cool, honestly, as far as I'm concerned. That your real name is Rattus rattus. I'm on board with that.
It's on YouTube. This huge thing that looks like a dog and is trying to eat us. Rattus rattus. That'll do. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Look, I want to take umbrage at three things.
Yes.
Firstly, Birth of a Nation was one of the greatest pieces of celluloid ever made.
Sure.
To show T&B in its true colours, namely black with white lips,
yes,
was something that had to be done at the time and should be done at then. I think Rebirth of a Nation, with opening shot of a man with a MAGA hat on, and we hear noise of a riot, and he's just plinking the darkies in the crowd. You know, I think that is the start of the new birth of a nation.
Afterbirth of a nation?
I want everyone to know that Song of the South was possibly the greatest commentary on truth that there ever was. Who can forget the immortal words, "Sing us a song, Uncle Nigger." "Okay, dear children, zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. I'm so grateful that I was a slave." And
No, I think you're very close with the lyrics there. I think you're very close.
that was them, or maybe that was the first cut, first
Yeah.
draft.
I think, yeah, maybe you were in the writer's room where they were coming up with what'll be the lyrics to this song where he says he's just always been happy despite slavery.
You know full well that they weren't saying he. They were saying the niggers saying that he was always happy about being a slave. So then
Well,
the nigger goes, you know they were saying that.
yeah.
You know they were saying
Walt
that.
Disney had quite the soft spot for Nazi ideology, so.
Well, I one of the only things I've ever respected that blonde-haired comedian who's Jewish and a bit out there and outrageous. You'd know him. He staged his marriage to a relative of Osama bin Laden.
Oh, John Safran.
John Safran. He went to Disney with a plaque, a brass plaque, and superglued it over the brass plaque of Walt Disney with Walt Disney's real history under it. And he got up to the point. Now, not a lot of people know this, but Walt Disney and John Ford went in together, putting car factories, truck factories in Germany just before the Second World War to mass produce trucks that they would need, obviously, for military invasion. There was no other need for that many trucks.
That was General Motors, and rather than Ford, because when they were called before Congress to say, "What the fuck are you doing?" the head of General Motors famously said, "We made a lot of money, and what's good for General Motors is good for America."
But Ford also did this, and after the war, Ford sued the American government for bombing his German truck factories for loss of business, and fucking won.
Well, all his stuff was there. You know, it's just like...
I mean, in Australia, you'd be taken out the back and shot as a traitor. But in America, there's business opportunity. And without opportunity, there's no business. And without business, there's no TNB.
Yeah, the bottom line is the bottom line.
I guess I'm getting a bit militant today because I saw another accidentally saw a YouTube video that's quite recent. It'll hit the headlines soon, I'm sure, of a kid who opens a packet of crisps in it was either the South or LA. It was in that zone.
Yeah.
And the cop who's got his gun holstered unholsters his gun and shoots him.
Yeah.
For opening a packet of crisps.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, there is no fucking getting away from the fact that the crisps have got a big logo on them and are silver.
That says, "We are crisps."
We are crisps. And so shoots him twice in the head and 5 times in the chest, right? He didn't want the motherfucker to get up again.
Yeah.
And, kid was like 15. And his friends are just standing around stock still going, You know what?
Yeah.
What? And then it was bleeped out in the version I heard. But then one of the other officers goes on, all right, the rest of you niggers, put your hands on your heads. You know the drill. You've done it often enough.
Yeah.
And they're all high school kids, you know, and they're all looking at each other going, hands on heads, what happens now? And one of the kids goes, kneel down, kneel down. And so they kneel down, and the cops come around and push them over. And then the last thing said on the video before a cop confiscates the camera because he notices it, he says, you don't have to push this one over. No indictment, no
Yeah.
charges, nothing. And
Yeah.
it's, of course, about to cause riots.
Yeah. Well, there
in
was.
America.
Yeah, there was another one. It just keeps. This is the weirdest thing to me. When the cops are under the most scrutiny there's ever been, when it's borderline revolutionary activity happening in the US, they keep fucking shooting unarmed people. There was one a couple of days ago, dude in a parked car, and long guns. It was actually cops with long guns, and just don't fucking move. And one shot gets fired by a cop, and then the rest, it's spontaneously. There's like 10 or 12 shots go off, and it's just like, holy. And yeah, I think that was in Atlanta. I forget where I was, but yeah, that caused massive marches.
One of the things that was suggested to me, and I don't know, but I kind of think it's maybe got a bit of credence, is here we are used to so much intra and intercommunication between our police forces, because in Australia, without communication, you are fucked.
Yes.
You are a dead man.
Yeah.
People don't understand that our communications industry systems, transport, aircraft, there will never not be an airline in Australia. That will never happen. There will always be telecommunications in Australia. That will always happen. No matter if they've got to spend half the GDP doing it right this time, there will always be telecommunications. And the reason being is without communications in this wide brown land, because we're so spread apart, you're screwed. Logistics couldn't happen. Nothing could happen. And so as a result, too, if you're a criminal and you do a crime and you run across state lines, you're pretty much home free. But these days, the state police, it started informally in the 1980s, early 1980s, when they were trying to catch this multiple escapee, this fucking Houdini motherfucker who was just, he was a thief, but he was a cut above intelligence-wise. And he was out of jail. It was a record 12 times or something. And he humiliated the police in several states. And so several senior policemen decided to take their holidays all at once and meet in Brisbane. And over...
Are we talking about the postcard bandit, Brendan Abbott?
We are.
Yeah.
We are. And he humiliated them, and they'd met, and they swapped notes, and they found, bugger me, we've got the same MOs, and we've got the same, if we'd have known this, we could have been here. And so they started semi-formally calling each other once every 2 months. And then their commanders got wind of this and said, you know that this was specifically off the books, and we don't do this. And they were going, well, yes, boss, but we are trying to. And then they said, but we think it's a fucking good idea. So we think we're going to get more cops involved, and we think we're going to do it formally and have it hosted once a month in every state. And we're going to bring everybody in. And they solved a record amount of homicides and big crimes in the first 6 months, because all of a sudden...
Just by talking,
guys who had hidden suddenly popped up somewhere else, and a photo of this guy, and someone said, "Oh, that's Macca. He picks fruit. I know him," and it was all that stuff. And so now there is a national database. There's no state database is a national database. If you put a photo up for a local Melbourne criminal, it goes national.
Yeah.
And when you want to find Melbourne, you've actually got to sift through. And there are formal meetings once a week of liaison coppers who talk about obviously interstate crimes. And there are formal meetings once a month of commanders. And they're pretty famous for being massive piss ups. They work hard all day, and for 3 days they crunch through numbers. Now they did a thing where they've linked up their supercomputers. Cyro, after the backpacker murders, Cyro found Ivan Milat, evil man,
bad man,
and they caught him by process of elimination. They put every man in New South Wales in his computer, and they said, what don't these guys have that the killer had to have had? And they just winnowed it down, and there were only 12 guys left. And they raided them all. One fine Tuesday morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, and 4 o'clock in the morning. And they got him there and then, because they were tapping wallboards, and they found all these trophies just sitting there behind the wall, and went, you idiot. You've kept everything from crime scenes. You're going away for the rest of your life.
That's what crazy serial killers do,
Sorry?
That's what crazy serial killers do. They do crazy.
Well, and also he went to Goulburn jail. Don't go to Goulburn jail.
And he died of cancer, which was horrible and painful and damn sad.
And you know what he wanted? He requested that he die in hospital, and the government said, no, you're dying in jail. In the infirmary ward, where you'll be given morphine for pain, which doesn't cut it for cancer.
No, it was long, drawn out, painful death, which the fuck. I think they couldn't believe their luck. Like, oh, you mean he's actually going to be in hideous pain for about 6 months and then die? Jesus, that's fucking sad, isn't it?
Yeah, sad that it wasn't longer.
Okay,
Ivan, here's your treatment. Are you ready for your morphine? Because we're not.
Push the button. It does nothing, but push the button.
But push the button anyway, mate. Anyway, so the crime computer is now national, and the crime computer will alert investigators saying, we think you're chasing the same bloke. And they will bring each other up and say, look, the crime computer's thrown this up. It might be nothing, but it smells funny. And then they'll talk. Now, we are used to this. What we are not used to is the state, county, and federal system of the US. They do not talk to one another at all. They make a pride of point of not talking to one another at all. Their law systems are not the same. And I know that sounds weird.
A sheriff gets to enforce particular laws, state police get to enforce particular laws, and federal, the FBI, gets to enforce particular laws. And the marshals, as in, famously immortalized by Tommy Lee Jones, the federal marshals enforce particular laws, but it's all different laws. It's fucking weird. It is they still have sheriffs. No, not sheriffs, constables, which is a really poorly paid position, and their main job is to collect fines for the city council. And they're sheriffs here. Sheriffs here work for the council, and their main job is collect fines, but they do have arrests and enforcement powers as well. But the weird thing, constables in the US are incredibly poorly paid, and so are usually taking bribes. But yeah, they're basically enforcing court orders and fines and shit like that. Oh my God, their legal system is ridiculous.
I mean, and so you get these guys, and the Australian bikies didn't sell ice to the country first. The American bikies did.
Mm.
And it was basically because they had the safety of going, I get on my Harley and I drive 5 miles and that copper can't chase me anymore.
That was the Dukes of Hazzard, remember? And that didn't translate to Australia at all. The Duke boys getting away from Boss Hogg, all they had to do in the General Lee was reach the county line and Boss Hogg couldn't chase them anymore. And that didn't translate to Australia at all. We were watching that in the 70s going, why the fuck do the cops just go, oh, well, you know.
And all we got was, our Boss Hogg is incompetent. That's all we
Yeah.
got.
But it was like
now
he
we
actually couldn't
understand.
enforce the law beyond the county line because he was a sheriff and he only had power in the shire that he was part of. And you got out of the shire.
He was, and this blows my mind, elected to.
Elected. Oh my God, elected. What the fuck is not qualified, but elected?
Never been to a police academy.
Jesus.
Never been to a police academy. Learnt to shoot on Grandpappy's farm, and given a book of the law that he's supposed to read over during the first 6 months of his job. During the first 6 months of his job. So he's making shit up for the first 6 months.
But judges get elected in the US. What the? It's not the most qualified person. It's the person who won a fucking election. What the fuck? My God. I tell you what, all this stuff, the fact that all this stuff with the Australian cops communicating was started by a criminal cracks me the fuck up. Guy who got christened by the cops, the postcard bandit. He actually worked out when he decided to lead a life of crime because there was no communication even within cities. Like there were suburban cop stations, and the suburban cop station investigated crimes in their suburb. So if he robbed a bank in one suburb and then went across to a different suburb and robbed a bank there, that would be two completely separate investigations that would not talk to each other. And so he'd do 10 banks in a city and then fuck off to another city, and no one would have any idea it was him.
And he'd clean out a place. He would clean out a place and move on.
He's the most punished robber in Australia. He's still in prison. For not ever having hurt anyone in an armed robbery. Normally you'd get 3 to 5 years. But A, he humiliated the cops. B, they are convinced he's got millions of dollars hidden somewhere, and they're trying to torture him. They're trying to bloody mentally torture him into confessing where the money is. And he's been in prison since the 90s for armed, and that's ridiculous. He's not eligible for parole for another 5 or 6 years, and that's just for armed robbery. That's ridiculous.
Remember too that he has 3 kids and 4 grandkids, and word on the criminal underground is that his great grandkids with the trust fund won't have to work. Apparently when he dies, a lot of very weird chicanery comes into action and money drops out of some very strange places and becomes the property of his ex and his ex-wife and his ex-girlfriend, the mothers of the kids. And it, in legalese, it's been very carefully put together. The mums all get a house and a car, and the kids all get their own chunk of trust fund, which has been growing steadily, and they're not to touch the capital. And one of the reasons why they never caught him was he used to insist, because there were 4 of them. There was usually 2 guys, 2 girls, but there were 4 guys in total. But there was usually him and his brother and one other. And he used to insist that the guys go and buy their cars. They used to go and buy their getaway cars and park them strategically wherever they needed them. No one's reporting anything stolen. It's just a car in a car park. And it's been there overnight. But that happens. And so all of a sudden they run out of a bank in a mall and jump in a car and drive away. And they would have the cheek to sell the fucking car the next day. Perfectly legal, perfectly fucking feasible. And by the time the cops caught up to the car, it had had maybe one, even two new owners. And the bloody forensics was all over the place. It was a mess. It was just, you know, it was unusable. And because he hadn't, he kept on not blipping radars. One of his escapes was genius. He made friends with the most frightening, the most vicious, the most violent, the most ugly human being in prison. And he took time. He's patient. He's a patient man. He took 6 months befriending this man and getting into his confidence and becoming the good bloke around the prison. And so then one night, slowly, he says, wouldn't it be nice to get out of here? Because they're all lifers. Remember, they're all lifers. I'm not going to hurt them if they run away. And he said, I've got this plan, and I want you guys to tell me if it's stupid or not. And the plan was, I've got some friends who owe me some favours, and what I'm going to get them to do is rob 6 banks. And they're all going to come out with $1 million for each of us, the 12 of us that hit the fence. They're also going to start to smuggle in tools. And what we're going to do is we're going to all jump one night and overwhelm the guards without killing them, because that'll be a murder rap that we don't need. We just bash them and go. And then they'll be running. Then we'll scatter. I'm going to arrange getaway cars for all of you, driven by your relatives and your friends. And he did. He bought 12 cars, and they were circling the ring road. They'd already chloroformed. How old-fashioned and cloak and dagger is that? They'd chloroformed the lookout. And when the alarms went off, the cars came racing in. They were all different colours, and some of them had yellow stickers with numbers on. So, and they were luminous. So when the prisoners jumped the walls, they knew which car to go to. And the actual escape itself was over in 3 minutes. And then the cops had to chase after 13 criminals from a maximum security prison. And they had to, because no cop's got limitless manpower, they had to prioritise which ones they were going to get. So do we get the rapist, murderer, or do we get the murderer, rapist? And he, armed robber, non-violent thief, con man, way down on the list. You know, he'll keep.
Well,
he'll keep. And he bought himself 6 months to get to Indonesia, get himself 5 new identifications, and then entered the country as a businessman that had left the country 4 days earlier. And the poor businessman, when he tried to get home, was immediately arrested, strip searched, cavity searched, his bags were ripped open, his stuff was ripped open, and the pottery he was trying to sell was all smashed. And he's going, I don't know what I've done, but if you want me to say anything, I'll say it. I'll sign anything. I promise. And they've eventually worked out that he's had his identity stolen, but doesn't matter because he's back in the country now with yet a new identity. And he only used it once. He only used it to get his passport done and get back in the country with his gang. And later when he was asked, they said, how was your 6 months in Bali? And he said, well, the Australian dollar goes a lot further in Bali than it does in Australia. And we had between us something in the vicinity of $12 million.
Yeah.
We had a good time in Bali.
Yeah.
We
That's
had police bringing
time.
us cocaine. We had parties with police chiefs. We grilled police on tactics, on new weapons coming on the market from America, on new, because they got the American magazine, same as the Australians did, new, because the Americans, when they put in the magazines, they put new tactics. And so they were up to date with all tactics. They were up to date with, and they also invented, when the licenses went photo ID, brilliant. They basically got a big square cutout and painted the type on the sheet, and then sat the criminal in front of the card and took a photo, and so then they laminated that, and of course, and they've done it slightly big and put it in the oven. No one here will remember shrinkies, but they've shrunk it slightly so it's nice and hard, so it looks like a perfectly legit license. And these bloody things used to pass muster over and over and over again. Brendan something. He was Brendan somebody.
Who, we're talking about the postcard bandit again, or?
Yeah.
Brendan Abbott.
Brendan Abbott. There you go.
Yeah. Almost 60,
got
still in prison.
60 years in prison.
No, he is almost 60. He's had 25 years in prison, and he's got another 5 or 10 before they'll even consider letting. But they keep rejecting his. What they did, they gave him a maximum sentence in one state and no parole, and he kept quiet the whole time. And then they go, okay, now we're extraditing you to another state and you're going to prison in that state for the full duration, which is unprecedented. But it's like, man, humiliate the cops and they will fucking get you. Embarrass the government, they will get you.
They will hurt you. They will hurt you over and over and over again. The terrorists in Australia, Muslim terrorists, get treated very badly. But there is a group of Muslim terrorists who, we don't know what they did, but they did something. They did something that embarrassed the cops, and they are brutalized. They are in solitary confinement. They are given a new Quran every year. They are given a new prayer mat every 10 years. They receive no visitors. They receive breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which is perfectly halal. They have a visit from an imam who leads them in prayer on a Friday all at once. That's the only time they hear another human voice and the voices of their comrades.
Are they in Jaika? I heard they were in like the scary Supermax that got shut down because it drove people crazy.
I thought they reopened Tingaloo.
Whatever, they're like in this Supermax.
Sorry, Katingal. I thought they reopened Katingal. That's what I'd heard.
They're like in a Supermax that drives you crazy, but these guys are never getting let out, so they don't care how crazy.
They don't care. They want them to be crazy. They want them to hurt, and they want rumors to leak out.
Yeah.
Because one of the best ways to do it was the dying mother of one of them wanted to go see her son before she died, and they said, that's fair, we'll do that on compassionate grounds, take off your veil. And she said, no, that's and they ripped it off her. They tore it off her and cut it up, and they said, now come over this mirror and squat over the mirror. And she said, what? Squat over the mirror. Oh, you'll have to remove your undergarments. Excuse me, you'll have to remove your undergarments or we'll do it. We're running out of time here. Okay, we'll do it. And they've bent her over and cut her undies off and put her over the mirror and dragged her down to squat. This is an old woman who's dying. And then said, we're not sure if there's anything up there. Full cavity search. they've given this old woman a full cavity search, and then immediately when they finished that, boom, they've let her into the cell with the guy. And usually prisoner visits are really only 20 minutes. They don't give you long. And they let them in there for 45 minutes, and there were screams and howls of pain. And then they came and said, time's up, and they were going to kiss each other goodbye, and they just grabbed her by the neck and dragged her out. And they put the tasers on his eyes.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds like they've done that before. And he put his hands in a gesture, and he walked out of the prison. Apparently his hair was uncut. His beard was uncut. He had food all through his beard and mustache. You could hardly see his eyes. And he was 4 times of barking crazy. And they dragged him back off to his cell, threw him in there, and they wanted that rumour to escape because she told all her friends and relatives, who then arced up and said, what treatment to give an old lady? And then you get an idea of the treatment that those guys are getting. I thought it was Katingle. I thought they reopened Katingle.
It also just sounds like psychopathic behavior, but anyway, you remember I read these really weird books. Well, they're not that weird, but there was a website that it was a lot of speculative fiction. You could get free ebooks, like the first book or the first couple books in the series, and it was basically a lot of right-wing science fiction, and some of it was quite good, some of it was weird. One guy, I think he was ex-military, had all his revenge fantasy stuff on Muslims in these fictions, and it starts getting into revenge fantasy torture stuff. You're getting an insight into a fairly fucking troubled mind, quite frankly. Stella, Australian prisons are always a nightmare. The one that I sprang to mind, there was a doco was done in the 80s. Yeah, because the dude we knew from Bathurst Jail was in it. And it was a very, 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 very good doco. In the 70s, Australia had 2 notorious prisons, Goulburn and Bathurst. Both got tamed down. When we went to college in Bathurst, when we were there, Bathurst was only medium security. In the 70s, Bathurst was maximum security, and it's where they sent people who were just going to be fucked over. One of the stories, it was actually from Goulburn, but Bathurst was basically the same. This guy related, first day in Goulburn prison, new prisoners lined up. The sergeant who runs the place has got a big stick in his hand, and he's walking up and down the line saying, like, you're going to follow the rules, you're going to do what I say, you're never going to question anything. And then he stops in front of someone and points the stick at his head and says, is that clear? And the guy goes, yeah. And he just goes, smack, and just knocks the guy out. And everyone's like, what the fuck? Because even in the 70s, that was illegal. To do that was illegal. But and they're all stunned. What? And so he goes up to the next guy who looks like a bit of a hard man and points the truncheon at his head and says, is that clear? You know, oh no, why he hit the guy in the head? He says, when you answer me, you say, yes, sir. You always say, sir. And he goes up to the next guy and says, is that clear? And Hardman says in a really sarcastic tone, yes, sir. And he just goes whack and knocks him out and goes to the next guy in the line. He goes, no one cops a fucking attitude with me. Is that clear? And the guy just goes, yes, sir. And then the guy just goes smack and knocks him out. And the next guy goes, the fuck was that for? And he just pointed to a sign on the wall it was very big. It said prisoners will not speak. And it's just like, oh my. And it was just saying, like,
and if you remember when you started saying, he said, you won't say anything. Yeah. You won't speak while you're here. And he says, is that clear? And I thought, this guy's going to get suckered into the oldest one in the book. Oh, yeah, you spoke.
Yeah.
And they all spoke. Yeah. And I remember I remember reading an account, an Australian military account of it was it was kind of a novelette, really. It wasn't quite a novel, but it was a good book. It was called Beyond SAS, and the foreword by the author says, "Look, a lot of this is going to be annoying because a lot of the stuff we can't talk about, but I'm talking about the personalities and some of the training that we went through." And he says it's not known, but there's many levels above the SAS that you can apply to, and very few people get in. And if you get to the very top, you are looking down upon the world in a very different viewpoint from when you started. And one of the things they used to do was, he said, sleep deprivation was de rigueur. You expected to have no sleep for 5 days when you got there. So everyone would sneak Barocca in bloody increasing thicknesses of gel cap up their nose in the cavities of their nasal passages. And these Baroccas would dissolve in the mucus and then run down the back of these guys' throats and give them nutrients, because they wouldn't be fed. They'd be given water, but they wouldn't be fed. And basically it's cheating. And then they would do things like, they'd sleep deprive them, and then they'd say, you're entering a no speaking area. And then they would scream questions at them. And why aren't you answering me? Why aren't you answering me? And then they'd speak, and they'd get the fuck kicked out of them. And this guy in this book said so many times, training led to hospitalisation. Discipline led to hospitalisation. Stuff that you are not legally allowed to do, they were doing all the time. And they were laughing at cracked skulls and popped eyeballs. They thought that was hilarious, because to do this, you had to be able to go into any area in the world, expect this kind of treatment, and go through it, and still maintain the mission, and still get out of there unseen. One of the things was they sent you into a marketplace, and they gave you a phone, and everybody in the marketplace by that time was speaking Arabic, because they have these mock marketplaces and mock Arabian stuff in the desert in Australia, everywhere. They're great. And they train there, and he's gone into this marketplace, and he's in this one particular bazaar. The phone call happens, and they've rigged the phone so it's on loudspeaker, and English comes streaming out of the phone. And he says, don't tell me, no, answer me. I need to know right now. And everyone's sort of starting to look at him like, he's that's English coming out of that phone. And he's been told no one who hears you speak English may be allowed to witness it and live. And it's all gel bullets, but you end up having to take out about 40 people in this bazaar. Too much.
Well, that's a fun one to finish the night on, because it is bedtime. I do want to say hello and good night to.
Give me 2 minutes. I've got to say good night to everyone. But
Street
give me 2
Gang
minutes.
who disappeared, and I'm literally going to bed.
Okay. Good night. I love you all.
Night, everyone. Bye. So yes, hello and good night to Megaleech and PBR. So going out the door. You did get a little bit of AIDS's clean-shaven face on your device, PBR. Who knows where he'll be tomorrow? He's home today. Anything could happen. He could fall and hurt himself, and he might be back in hospital tomorrow. Who knows? Spin the wheel. The AIDSy random fucking happenstance wheel. Wow, that fridge is really loud. Yeah, but I'm going to go to bed. see you tomorrow. Tomorrow night's Friday night, party night, I think. I think we'll do the anyone who wants to join in. I'm glad you enjoyed the stories, John. I did see like Safa saying, how does AT know this? He reads. That's like he's got a very curious mind. I also suspect he makes some of it up. But he reads stuff that I don't read. So who am I to judge? Who knows? All right. Maybe I'll have my camera fixed tomorrow and I'll look less weird. Who knows? But I think tomorrow night will be party night. I'm making a... Oh, what is this? This is basically a chocolate daiquiri. Rum with creme de cacao and lime. There's basically a chocolate daiquiri, which it's a beautiful clear color. I'm going to filter it one more time, and I'll give it the L taste test tomorrow night. I might even do rum cocktail and do a comparison between the Beanley 5-year and the Flor de Cana 7-year rum and see if I can taste the difference. My cocktail Bible here has some good recipes specifically for aged rums. So I might pick one out of here and compare them. Stella, AD is always entertaining. The veracity of what he says, who knows? But the entertainment, always spot on. So hopefully we'll see him tomorrow. Hopefully he's not injured or hurt and he's still in recovery mode and we'll see him tomorrow. But who fucking knows with AIDS, quite honestly. Take care of yourself, one and all. I'm going to go to bed now. I hope you have a good night, day, wherever you are in the world, whatever time of day you're facing. Take care. Hope to see you again soon. But bye.